Welcome to the pitch.
Hi. Welcome to the Pitch of Discontent. I'm your host, Paige.
And I am Owen.
Nice.
Thanks for that. Good reversal.
You're welcome.
That's what the people were all here for.
I know.
Paige, I'm noticing an adornment.
I'm cold.
You're wearing the child's dino blanket.
Yeah, this is my nephew's blanket.
Hell yeah. Clever girl.
There. I'm cold. Resourceful.
Very good. You are watching the weekly roundup. It is episode 179.
Weekly roundup.
Yes.
And then the wrestling bell noise.
Air horn, or you
Bing,
want the
bing.
bell?
Yeah, no bell.
All right.
Air horn's played out.
I'll
YouTubers, relax on the fucking air horn.
I'll find some special effects for you. At the top of the show, before we get into tracks for this week, do you have anything that you would like to chat about? Gossip, things of that nature?
Only 2 grievances.
Grievances, okay.
Just because you post a video of your latest single and put the caption as, "This band made the banger of the year," it doesn't make it the banger of the year. You can't just put that as the caption. Do you know what I mean? There's elected officials for these types of things.
There's a process.
You
There's
gotta be voted.
rounds. There's nominations.
You gotta be voted. And in fact, you're being dishonest with your fans as a result. So clean your acts up, first of all. Second, stadium bands.
Mm-hmm.
It's not very punk rock of you to have class systems at your shows. And not to name anyone specifically, but I did have a note here just to say that calling your wealthier fans snakes in the snake pit does seem appropriate, to be fair.
Now I wish you would name names. That's all.
There's only one band that calls the pit the snake pit. It's Metallica. There you go.
Right.
I named them. They're not fucking watching this.
Fucking shots fired.
But seriously, like it's all these older bands, and you pay extra, like massive amount, like hundreds more dollars to go and be at the front of the show. Everyone knows the pit's for the kids. And now it's just full of old people on fucking camper chairs and shit.
Yeah, but I mean, at some point you've hit a particular tipping point in your career where you're no longer about the kids in the pit. You know what I mean?
No old people in camping chairs should be near a pit ever.
I mean,
and you cannot change my mind on this.
I mean, I agree. I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just saying.
It's wrong. It's weird. I don't like it. Also, does that not ruin the fucking vibe for you as a metal band or a punk band? Is that really does that not depress the fuck out of you?
I mean, it certainly would take some of the energy out of the show.
Yeah, so I don't know why I'm in a hater-ass mood this week, but that's how I fucking feel. And yeah, I don't think that you should have tariffs for how you sit and where you sit at a fucking show. That's classist and gammon.
Yeah, okay. Fucking down with tariffs. You heard it here first, folks. In other news, I showed you the video last night, but I thought we'd bring it up on the pod. Apparently some discord in the Jane's Addiction camp. Not that that's shocking or revelatory news to anyone, because the band have gone in and out of periods
there's always drama.
There's always beef,
yeah.
and Dave Navarro is Dave Navarro.
For sure. I mean, I was a little shocked because it's still?
So I saw a post through Stereogum where they were talking about a unofficial statement from the vocalist's wife, who was basically saying that throughout the entire tour that they're on, the band has simply been playing too loud. And she was like, my husband, I believe his name is Perry, is he's dealing with tinnitus and he is struggling to hear himself, and he had a chest infection, so he hasn't been able to sing. And I couldn't just help thinking a band at the level of Jane's Addiction, one, he would have the best
In-ears.
money could buy, and probably a whole team of people running like the audio for that show. So like, does he not have people to go to and be like, "Hey, dog, I can't fucking hear myself. Can you fix that?" Instead, he turns around and goes, to Dave Navarro, and then punches Dave Navarro. Dave Navarro's like, "What, dog? Like,
I would
what's
just
going
say
on?"
that like it makes me think of other loved ones in our lives that are a little hard of hearing, and it is everyone else's fault a lot of the time.
Yeah,
so
sure.
like I guess some advice someone gave me a long time ago is that if you look around the room and you're the only one having a problem and everyone else is fine, you might be the problem.
So the way that it was framed in the wife's statement was that apparently this has been an issue that has been brought to the vocalist. They're like, "We can't hear you. The band is too loud." And then apparently people in the front row of the show where the altercation happened were yelling at him like, "We can't hear you. Like, you suck.
Yeah.
Like, sing louder." So apparently this all fed into his frustration.
Okay, sounds like shitty sound then.
But then I was just like, again, I don't really know how that's the band's fault. Like, there's a team of people there, like in control.
Very
of all
much the onus of the engineer at the front of house.
So anyway, not one to like talk
No
shit on
shade.
crew.
Yeah,
I'm just
we
saying.
don't fuck with working class people. That is not the man.
I feel like there was a communication breakdown, and it resulted in some very like messy behavior on stage. They've since cancelled their like follow-up shows.
Probably a good move.
So they're probably trying to like figure their shit out. But anyway, talk to your crew.
Yeah, I still don't really understand that as a like. Yeah, why would the result be to sock the lead singer in the face?
No. It was the lead singer who like started a fight with Dave Navarro.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes. Okay.
And then apparently there was like other like gossipy shit. They were like, yeah. And then he had to be restrained. And then when they got out the back, the bass player came and punched him 3 times in the stomach. And I was like, I don't care about any of this. Like, this sounds like a very much like you guys hate each other, but you're doing
These are
it for
grown ass men.
like 50, 60-year-old
Like,
men. Like,
old
come on,
dudes.
guys. Sort your shit.
Yeah. Maybe too much lead poisoning. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, who knows? In album shoutouts, I would like to talk about the new record from 156 Silence called People Watching.
Neat.
Cool record if you're into alt metal / metalcore, general eerie, weird vibes. Check it out. There's some banger choruses. There's some heavy moments. There's some cool shit in there. I recommend checking that out.
Neat.
And then we've got a good feature album to chat about at the back end of the show. Should we just jump into it and do tracks?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Let's go.
Hey, there we are.
Hey.
And you've had a costume change.
Yeah. It really is very cold here.
I mean, the heater's on. I don't know what your problem is.
Heat is on.
I'm wearing a nice flannel though, so I feel you.
Also, like, men just run hotter than women, in my experience in life. Not a generalization.
Personal experience. Yes. First up this week, we have a announcement from, I don't want to say friends of the show, potential friends of the show, maybe.
Best friends of the show forever. We love you.
But a favorite band of the show, Australian indie rockers Slowly.
Yeah.
Now, they put out a record in 2022 called Daisy Chain. We featured that a bunch in the newsletter and in the early days of the pod.
We did. Stands.
Love that record. Many, many singles. Lots of great tracks.
So good.
They have finally come through with the announcement of the follow-up. It is their 5th studio album. It's called Forgiving Spree.
Okay.
It's nice. And it's coming out on January 24th, 2025. So it'll be in the future next year, but it'll be one that we'll put on the calendar for the next year of the pod, I guess. This one was born from excitement for their tour in support of Daisy Chain, which I've just previously mentioned. And the pull quote here says that the record is brimming with lyrics that lean into frontman and songwriter Ben Stewart's signature introspective life, reflections shared using clever wordplay. And I will say that's probably one of the things that I love about the band the most. Not only are the songs catchy, the instrumental's great,
but they're thought-provoking.
Ben's like lyrical kind of wordplay is phenomenal. He's just got a really good songwriter knack. He also just put out a singer-songwriter solo record too, which was fantastic. So he's a very creative guy. This record was made up of songwriting sessions split between Melbourne and LA. And Forgiving Spree is the first time that Ben has opened up his creative process to other collaborators for particularly songwriting. He's worked with Courtney Ballard, who has worked with 5 Seconds of Summer, State Champs, Good Charlotte, a bunch of others, as well as acclaimed.
Remember 5 Sauce?
Yes. And acclaimed Panic at the Disco, Weezer, and Fall Out Boy collaborator Susie Shin.
Oh, shit.
So some big hitters on this one. I mean, Ben is talented enough in his own right, but
it doesn't surprise me. It was
working
the
with some big guns
natural
here.
next step, for sure.
I've got a quote here on the title track from the record, which is what we're about to listen to. And Ben says, Forgiving Spree was written at the end of the writing period for the album. It's a song about moving on, real, deep, lasting change, and the act of forgiveness as a tool to achieve it. It is also a reminder that forgiveness can also be a tool used to move forward, to let go, grow, and not look back.
To heal.
To heal.
For sure.
Let's jump in and have a listen. We can chop it up on the back. This is Slowly, Slowly, Forgiving Spree.
Okay. Cute.
I broke a mirror last year. I stepped under a ladder, saw a black cat in my dreams. I opened my arms to every bad omen that a fortune teller sees. God was giving me nothing, but I left a message on his answering machine. I won't forget this mess. Remember my face. It'll be the last one you ever.
Thoughts?
So catchy.
Super catchy.
I always love the way he sounds. Whereabouts is he from again?
They're from Melbourne.
Yeah, right. Sick.
I'm
Man,
pretty sure Ben lives like 2 suburbs over from us.
that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he lives like in Thornbury or somewhere
Come
close
over.
to that.
What are you
so.
doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I always love the sound of his voice. I think he has like probably the nicest version of an Australian accent.
I mean, he has. It doesn't sound like ochre
Abrasive.
or like
Yeah.
parochial or any kind of like gimmicky kind of thing. But at the same time, he sounds very distinctly Australian
For sure.
in a way that like accentuates the qualities of his voice and
Makes him sound unique.
like leaning into the accent.
For
You know
sure.
what I mean? As opposed to like rubbing up against it.
Well, yeah, but like when I lean into the accent, I don't sound good. I sing with an American accent, which is like the bane of every vocal coach's like existence as my teacher, because
Yeah.
they will tell you to sing, if anything, with like a British accent. But it's just like when I sing with an Australian accent, I sound worse, like more, not worse, more ochre than like Missy Higgins, for example. And she's sick and sounds exactly the way you want Missy Higgins to sound on a track. Don't get me wrong. But it's just not, I'm not giving like this beautiful indie rock, like interesting, unique vibe. I'm giving like, okay, well, she is clearly from Central Queensland.
Yeah. I think on another level to what we were talking about before the song, I just love Ben's lyricism and I love the way he uses like everyday scenarios, but then can like elevate them into like these figurative or metaphorical kind of like uses. The literary device is like an illusion. So like he's talking there about like having bad luck, like seeing a black cat in his dreams,
or the snake
bad
bites.
omens, snake bites, like snake charmers, like all of these things that are meant to denote like bad luck and fortune and all these sorts of things. And then he kind of goes on like a spiritual angle, very similar to what he was working with on Daisy Chain, about like asking God for something and getting nothing, but then leaving a message on his answering machine. And like, that's just like a clever little bit of wordplay, but it's so evocative because in my head, I'm like, would God have like an actual answering machine? Or would he
I
have
think it'd be full.
or would he have a voicemail? Would it be full?
It'd be full.
What would his message be like? Like, hey, you got God, leave
Hey
a
man,
message
why do
after
you
the
keep
beep.
letting all those kids in Palestine, all those Palestinian kids die in
Yeah.
mass?
So
Yeah.
I think it's just interesting that like a song can evoke a particular image and like
Me too,
you know what I mean?
for sure. It is very visual, isn't it?
Yes.
On the clouds. I'm seeing like God from The Simpsons specifically.
Or South Park, just like the big dog thing.
Not that fucking thing. That thing's weird.
Anyway, another banger from Slowly Slowly, clearly working in fine form. I'm keen to see what they do with another long form project because I really enjoyed Daisy Chain. I thought the whole album cycle for that record was phenomenal. So to see them ramping back up again for another crack, very exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
Hell yeah. Next up, we're going to keep things Melbourne. We've got hardcore band Horsepower. They are coming through with a new release. So they've teamed up with the good people at Life Layer Regret Records as well as New Ethic Records for a little label team up. They are doing a 7-track, 7-inch called A Tear or Two, and it is coming out on November 1st. This follows up their demo from 2022 and the Change of Heart promo, which I believe we featured on the show possibly last year when it came out in 2023. But the new 7-inch finds the group advancing, quote, their signature blend of hardcore and punk with a greater emphasis being pushed into the band's hardcore energy. So, yeah, getting or seeing lots of hype for Horsepower, and I am yet to see them live, but love what they're doing on record so far, and it sounds promising. I have a single from the 7-inch for you, so let's have a listen to that. This is Horsepower, Weightless.
All right, let's do it.
I feel your head at the bottom of mine. I am so close, but I can't decide how this life might play. I cannot play somehow. I ask for your forgiveness, but I must.
Fuck yeah. I'd crowd kill to that.
Yeah.
Top of the crowd kill to you.
Top of the crowd kill to you, sir. I was saying to you when it kicked in, that initial kind of like rhythmic
Gallop.
has like a full gallop quality
It
to it.
feels too much like a gallop for it to not be intentional.
I think so.
Yeah.
And
Leaning into the horsepower.
leaning into the horsepower
You ever
motif.
think about where that term originated? Like, it was literally a horse once, and some bloke was like, "Oh yeah, how much horsepower she got?" It's like about one, but some of them, I guess, had 2 horses worth of horse.
I mean, yeah, that is really the origin of the term. It was the invention of the steam engine.
My pop is rolling in his grave.
How many horsepowers you got in this bad boy?
I didn't dedicate my life to raising horses for my granddaughter to talk shit like this. That wasn't a very good impression, but if I did one, I'd feel wrong about it.
Nah, he was stoked. I love this. There's a cool little bass run in there. That nice little like kind of slow down bit at the end is good. I'm a sucker for a big like drawn out vocal or an enunciated vocal.
Yeah.
So
show me your pipe.
that little bit of like
capacity.
that life before the fucking slow down. Great.
Plus, it's like coming up, like it's quite high end.
Mm.
Hard note to hold with that much gravel for that long.
Yeah.
You know? Kind of
sick.
crazy. Yeah.
But keen for a new 7-inch, keen for them to work with more material, and maybe I'll check them live at a show.
Give it.
We'll see. We'll see. Okay. Outside of Australian artists, let's move to our next one for this week. This one's exciting for me. This is one of my favorite bands.
Is it?
And I've loved them for close to 20 years. This is the long-awaited return of Buffalo, New York metalcore veterans. It Dies Today.
Your homies.
Yes. They have done the official release of a studio version of a track that they originally demoed and released in 2014. Back then it was called Son of Dawn, Brilliant Star. Now it is just called Son of Dawn. But
Like a Dawn, D-A-W-N, or are we talking like D-O-R-N-E?
not Game of Thrones Dawn. No, it is actual like
House of the Dragon.
Celestial Dawn.
Fucking noob.
This version also marks the recording debut of their new drummer, John Runkle, who joined the lineup earlier
Hey,
this
John.
year. Sup, John?
Welcome.
We also, of course, talked about It Dies Today with our guest last week,
You
Dane
did,
Evans
you little cuties.
of Wild Heart and Crime Scene. Go check out that guest episode.
Absolutely
for
amazing.
The folks over on the Pitch of Discontent Patreon, you can sign up for as little
All
as
three of
$5
you.
a month. There was an extended chat with Dane about It Dies Today, why he thinks they're sick, why their debut record, The Cave Choir, is an underrated metalcore classic, and various other things related to metalcore and It Dies Today.
Yeah, you guys basically just sat across from each other and fangirled
Totally.
for ages. And then this came out. It was crazy.
Yeah, and I did not plan it that way. And I was literally in his DMs being like, bro, we're going to put out your guest episode with you sweating on It Dies Today. And they're putting out a new song in like 4 hours. And he was like, what? And I was like, yep, it's happening.
And then you kissed.
And yeah, exactly.
I knew it.
Anyway, I'm pumped for this. I love It Dies Today. Stoked that they're back. Let's have a listen to the revamped version of Son of Dawn. This is It Dies Today.
Let's do it.
Keep on trying, but I can't this line. I keep on trying, but I've been falling for far too long. It feels like the sanctity's all gone. Been falling for far too long.
Hello, Killswitch Engage.
Yeah, look, does that sound peak mid 2000s metalcore, a time in which Killswitch were pretty much dominant? Yes, very much so.
Daddies.
You are correct, like even down to like the guitar harmonies,
It's a very Adam D
the vocal layering,
Guitar.
production style,
riffage.
it all has a bit of an Adam D kind of quality to it. Just stoked to hear them back on this kind of bullshit because
It's good.
for those who don't know the It Dies Today lore, so they put out 2 records, debut album in 2004, the follow-up Sirens in 2006, and then Nick Brooks, the main vocalist who does the heavy vocals but also the cleans, he left. And then they got a replacement vocalist. Name escapes me, probably because I don't care. And they put out a record called Levidity, and it was not good. So,
in your opinion.
in my opinion, so then the band kind of fizzled out shortly after. So there's like the peak era of It Dies Today when they were having that come up, and then there's kind of like a rough middle spot.
They had a bad trip, and then they had a down.
Yeah. And then in the early
Now they're dosing again.
and in the early 2010s, they announced like, hey, we want to do the band again. We're working on some new stuff. Son of Dawn in the demo version was the kind of like announcement of like, hey, we're thinking of doing stuff again. And people were like, yeah, dope. This sounds great. And then they just kind of like sat on that for another decade almost. And then it was like mid-COVID, I think, with Furnace Fest in 2022. They got booked for that. And that was like the kind of renewal of the band. They started playing shows. Then they were like, we are going to record some new stuff. They
fell back in love.
They put out a song that we featured on the show a while ago called like Burial in Black Clouds or something. But yeah, so this is like, I guess like them coming full circle to getting that original demo, shining it up, changing it.
It's so good. It's a vibe. I'm definitely
incredible.
adding it to my giant bastardized playlist of chip shop songs from different genres.
Yeah, and I mean, like, look, I've made no secret of this on the show, but like,
Yes, he has. Don't tell anyone. This is top secret.
I am like a metalcore guy. Like,
No.
I love it. It's good, and I'm here for all the errors, all of the different
Taylor
changes.
Swift errors?
Yes, the
Red.
the errors to it.
Red is one of them.
But the mid 2000s is my time, because that's when I found all this music. That's when I went to shows.
That's when we were cool and
And
relevant.
As much as
We were never cool and relevant.
as much as nostalgia is like fucking beating a dead horse at this point.
If I hear elder emo one more time, I'm gonna not exist anymore.
or elder millennial emo is like the final boss of my fucking
See, I'm not
existence.
an elder millennial. I'm a young, spry, cute millennial.
I definitely am an elder millennial, and I fucking
speak
resent
Gen
every
Z.
part about it. But yes, stoked to have it Dies Today back. I hope they're working on a new album. That would please me a lot if that comes through next year. But Son of Dawn sounded sick.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's move on to the next one. So we have a new solo album from Citizen frontman Matt Kerekes.
Ooh.
So he put out a record in 2023 called You Look Like a Stranger.
Mm-hmm.
And we had him on the pod.
It was
So he's an
great.
official friend of the show. To talk about that and to
Oh,
talk,
is that how you're measuring friends of the show? Is like if they've been on the show?
yeah, friend of the
Right,
show.
That's fair. That does make sense.
That's like
I just thought they were our buddies.
I mean,
Anyone who we like and consider friends.
if they can suffer through me for an hour and a half, friend of the show.
Everyone's a friend of the show.
Exactly.
This is true.
No, so we had him on to talk about the solo stuff. There was the new Citizen record, which came out later that year, Calling the Dogs. The band was over here in March of this year for a New Bloom Festival, which was sick. And I guess now that he's been back at home, finishing the touring cycle for that record, he's had enough opportunity to work on some new solo stuff. So the new solo album is called To Dream of Something Wicked, comes out on October 18th through Wax Bodega. And this is cool. So where the first record, You Look Like a Stranger, took a, quote, maximalist production-rich approach, the new record, quote, strips back Kerekes' craft to its bare essentials, elevating the visceral emotions at the heart of his songwriting. So
Good write up.
yeah, just trying to strip things back a little bit. He moved back to Toledo, Ohio, which is where kind of Citizen originally formed.
Isn't there like some meme about Ohio?
I mean,
Skibbity toilet or something?
there's lots of memes about
I don't
Ohio.
speak Gen Alpha.
It's for lovers,
I've
apparently.
heard that it
or
is
so
for
I've heard.
lovers.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But the familiar locale of his hometown helped him settle into a place of comfort. And his uncle is on the record for guitar, bass, and melodica.
Cute.
And then his brother Chris was another key
Family
songwriting partner.
affair.
So it's a full family affair. I'm liking the sound of the new singles, so keen to hear what the full record sounds like. But let's have a listen. This is Matt Kerekes, Motorbike.
All right, let's do it.
Into a million bits of fool's gold. Ain't that so sad? It happened like that. I could cry just thinking about you. Cry just thinking about you. Cry just thinking about you.
Thoughts?
Yeah. I love this band a lot.
I love his solo stuff, mainly just because, like, you get a lot of what he brings to Citizen,
Oh
But-
yeah, this is his solo stuff.
but it's more like, I don't know.
It's a bit more refined. Well, not refined, peeled back.
It's a little bit more peeled back,
Yeah.
yes. And it's more like just kind of raw
Mm.
and kind of introspective.
I like how the drum track sounds like a marching band drum somehow.
Yeah.
It's so weird because it's very live still
Yeah.
at the same time.
Well, I know from when we had Matt on the show,
Mm.
like he has a full studio set up at his house,
yeah.
which is where he kind of did the episode from.
That's
and
rad. What kind of desk does he have?
I don't know the technical specs,
Let me
but
see that bitch.
like
We're talking
he's a
SSL?
he's a very talented guy. So like I imagine he probably tracked pretty much all of this himself. I know he can drum. He drums in like a death metal band with like buddies that he has from
I
gym.
would get so much just like imposter syndrome doing everything myself.
Imposter to who?
To me. Like,
Okay.
I would just be like, I'm not this talented. And
Okay.
maybe that's the difference. He
Yeah.
is that talented.
I mean, yeah, he's a talented guy. So
But then, like, I've recorded some interesting bands in my life, and they didn't have imposter syndrome. And I don't know if talented is the word I would use for them.
maybe they should have had some imposter syndrome.
Maybe a little bit.
Just a little bit helps.
But it was my job to help them get there. But sometimes the way my old teacher used to say it is, you can polish a turd, but it will still be a turd.
Right.
I'm not talking about any of the people watching this show, I promise. I don't think anyway. Savage, sorry.
No, I think that clearly, like, he's confident in what he's doing, and
He just has like a really good ear and a great understanding of what makes a good track.
yeah, and I think like whichever way he wants to push and pull the sound of his solo material, the Citizen material, like the more upbeat, kind of energetic stuff is always fun, but he just has such a beautiful voice.
Yeah, and I'm just
And-
saying he's really brave.
Yeah.
To be such a one-man wonder, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Put
talented
it all
guy.
out there and kind of all by yourself as well. Hella scary.
Yeah, I can understand what you mean. Like to put out a record that is a solo record under your name as the moniker,
Mm.
and to do like the one man band thing of like recording and producing the whole thing yourself. You don't really have anyone else to hide behind. It's like,
No.
this is it. This is
Yeah.
me. I made this. So okay, I see what you mean.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate you acknowledging how smart I am without saying it directly.
You're welcome. Let's get into the final track for side A this week. This is one that I've been eagerly wanting to talk about on the show.
Mhm.
And when this got announced and the single came out, I was in the middle of doing all the crazy big sound stuff that I was up to like a week or so ago. So it was like a crazy time to just kind of sit and process all of this. But we have a surprise album release from Planes Mistaken for Stars. And it's quickly become probably my most anticipated album for this year. They're a band that I love very dearly.
So good.
The record is called Do You Still Love Me?
Mm-hmm.
And it is the band's fifth album, their second for Death Wish Records,
Mhm.
and their first since 2016's Prey. So their first record in almost a decade. Now,
Ew, don't say that.
the most obvious thing to talk about, and for people who don't know the lore and the details, it is the first
Mm.
album release since the death of the band's frontman, Garrett O'Donnell, who
Wow.
passed away from esophageal cancer back in 2021. And basically, they were working on all of this material during his diagnosis, his treatment, and his eventual passing. And the way they've like described it here, Garrett's cancer diagnosis loomed heavily over the recording, and his ghost guided the mix.
Aw,
So it's
that's
pretty,
beautiful.
it's pretty heavy stuff. I've got a fairly lengthy quote here from the band's Bandcamp page, which I think really just kind of gives you a sense of like why it took them so long to put this record together after he died,
Okay.
and then why they've decided to release it.
Yeah.
Because for some people, you might be like, is that really something that you should be doing? Yes or no? I think it's completely up to them.
I mean,
but-
it's catharsis. Of course it is.
Totally. But this, I think, helps add some context for that, right? So the quote here Garrett only ever heard the earliest mixes of this record. While he was alive to record his tracks and help determine which songs would make the cut and which order they should be in, he passed before mixing was complete. His departure left the rest of us with a daunting task to complete our shared vision of this record without him, while simultaneously processing the existential grief that inevitably accompanies the loss of a brother, a friend, a father, a husband. His voice haunted us at every step, with every playback, every mix, and every decision. We did our damnedest to honor his memory and to make this record into something that we thought he would love and be proud of. We hope we did him right. While this may be the last Planes Mistaken for Stars record that Garrett would ever hear, it hopefully will not be the last of our legacy. Eternal love to our brothers and sisters. Take care of each other. Thunder in the night forever.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And sad.
Super sad. Let's have a listen to the song, and then there's going to be some thoughts I want to unpack on the other side. Have you heard this yet?
Yes.
Okay. This is Planes Mistaken for Stars. Fix Me.
Okay. Oh my God. I can't imagine how you would like re-record parts of the songs and like listen to him sing, and like how gut-wrenching it would have been to finish these tracks.
Yeah, like, obviously, like, editing this show, right? Like,
Yeah.
I've become so thoroughly numbed to the sound of my own voice,
Yeah,
to your
sure.
voice, in just
Hey,
in just
not
like,
my voice.
in just like a very practical way of like,
I can't believe you don't love me anymore.
God damn it. Just like there's a practical component that comes to like editing something like this, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I can't imagine what kind of task it would be to have to put together something that you've poured all of your like literal blood, sweat, and tears into as like a creative thing, and to have like his literal like ghost like speaking to you
Through the songs.
through the songs. And I mean, like, for listeners who, you know, might not have followed along, like, these are some of his like most harrowing lyrics. Once you know the context of like he's literally
Beautiful.
recording this music
While dying.
while dying
Yeah.
and knowing that he likely will die.
Yeah.
So like,
not to be too blunt, but
I mean,
that's the truth of the
that's the
matter.
reality. That's
No
what happened.
disrespect though.
No disrespect intended, but like these lyrics are just harrowing. Like the final kind of like bridge to coda of the song is like, just say you love me, fix my head, through thread this soul, fix my love, mend this hull, love like waves, stop these shakes, fix these ticks, scrabble at these locks, fix forgiveness, swipe away these tears, fix forgiveness, steal back some years, just say you love me, fix me. It's just, it fucked me up the first time I heard it.
I know so few people that haven't watched someone die of cancer.
Mm.
Like, so many of us have experienced that. And unfortunately, a lot of us have experienced them not win the fight. And it just makes listening to this music in that lived experience, like, it's so moving.
Yeah.
And kind of surreal in a way as well,
Yeah,
knowing
very much so.
that it is a ghost kind of speaking to you and a memory of someone. And that's kind of fascinating and beautiful and depressing in the way that only music can be, you know?
And that's the thing that I kept kind of reflecting on. And I was saying to you when the song was playing that, like, I've listened to this probably in excess of like 25 times through.
Yeah.
Like, they're one of my favorite bands of all time. And I genuinely didn't know whether I would ever hear anything new from the band for very obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So,
of
like, to
course.
find out that the rumored album was a real thing
Yeah.
and that it was coming, like, as soon as this came out, I listened to it and I've been poring back over it again and again and again. And the thing that kind of just that I find awe-inspiring is that the song is great.
Yeah.
And like even all of the context removed from it, if Gary was still alive, if there was none of that extra dimension to it, it would still just be a fucking great song. And it's a testament to this band that they are just so unique and idiosyncratic. His voice is so one of a kind that like all of that still stands. And then you just have this fucking harrowing story
Yeah.
behind all of it that just hits you like a gut punch.
Absolutely.
It's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
And I could not be happier that this band is back and that there's another album to dig into. But yeah, it still just makes me sad to think of the loss.
Yeah,
'Cause what a
for
huge
sure.
loss for his family, his bandmates, all of the fans of the band, myself included. Like,
It's
just
rough, man.
It's just rough. But anyway, I hope people enjoyed that because I
Yeah,
think the song is
I
incredible.
loved it.
That wraps up side A
Yeah.
for this week. We're going to
We
keep
did
things
it.
rolling over on side B. You can watch the rest of the show by joining the TPD Patreon.
You can do it.
Bottom
If you
tier is
like.
$5 a month. That gets you access to the extended weekly roundup episodes.
And we're not like Netflix. You can share logins.
You can also do one-off payments. I've enabled those. So if you don't want to be a subscriber, if you're a hater-ass bitch, but you do want to watch
God.
one episode and one episode only, you can throw us some bones
We
and you can watch
respect
that.
all people's different financial ability, and we
Yes.
do not expect anything from any of you.
I
but to-
jest.
to just hang out with us every week and talk about music we think is neat. If you can't afford to sign up, that's fine, but it'd be sick if you could chuck some comments or like give us a like. Everything helps.
Yeah, totally. A lot of this can just feel like posting into the void. So
Yeah,
if
it can
you-
sometimes.
If you like what we do, if you want more of the show, all of that helps. Let us know. But we're going to keep things rolling over on Side B on Patreon.
All right. Sloo.
See ya. Subscribe now to the Pitch of Discontent Patreon to receive access to extended cuts of our bonus episodes, as well as exclusive behind-the-scenes content, monthly Patreon-only episodes, member-only votes, the TPD community chat, and much more. Go now to patreon.com/tpdpod and join for as little as $5 a month. That link again is patreon.com/tpdpod. Thanks for watching the show.